Jambalaya, crawfish pie and a fillet of gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar and be gay-o. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bay-o. This is how to play Jambalaya by Hank Williams, and this video is part of my 10 songs with 2 chord series, where one of the chords is a bar chord or improving bar chord techniques. You may have noticed already that we haven't got a bar chord in this song if we don't choose to. We're going to be looking at different chord options for this one. And it's a great little song to have a boogie, very quick to learn. So let's just focus on the chords a little bit first. We have the C chord, which there should be nothing shocking about this at first look. But the G chord that we're going to play, I would recommend having a go at it like this. Now, about 20% of people who are at this kind of level and can do this kind of song are familiar with that way of playing a G. The other 80% of people have never seen that before, and they're more familiar with this way of playing a G or the way of playing a G with 4 fingers. There are even other ways to play a G, so it's quite confusing. What I'm encouraging everyone to do, especially those that haven't already, is use this song or this lesson as an opportunity to get used to this way of playing a G, especially when we're moving between C major and G, because although we don't have a finger that stays down, so we don't have a pivot finger or an anchor finger, we do have this second and third finger which only move up by 1 string. And when we're moving those 2 up in coordination with the little finger going down here, that is improving an awful lot of finger independence for just 1 small move. We also have, as well as the open chord way of playing C major and G major, I want to also make you aware that we can play those same 2 chords with a bar chord way of playing a C like this, and a G chord played with the E-shaped bar chord like this. So that was an A-shaped bar chord and an E-shaped bar chord. Now this could look a little bit familiar to you, especially if you've been following some of my super beginner lessons where we were using a capo a lot, also known as a capo if you're an American, and we're using our first finger when we're barring in place of that capo. So you can see this G chord, it actually looks like an E chord with fingers 2, 3 and 4 and the first finger acting as the capo. The C chord here looks like an A chord using the first finger as a capo. Okay, that's the appearance of it, if we can imagine that. However, the most important thing when we're playing these kind of higher level chords and getting used to bar chord grips and things is knowing where the root note is. Knowing that this note is a C note, the 3rd fret on the A string goes A, B, C, and that is exactly the same, that note there, exactly the same whether we're playing this bar, way of playing a bar chord, or this C chord. That note has not changed, it's still a C, therefore this chord is a C chord and a C major chord. When we played the G before, whether we play it like this, or like this, or like this, that note has not changed. That is the G note, and this is our G major chord, whether it's like this or like this. None of those chords are minor, they're both just a normal C chord, C major and G major. For now in the lesson we're going to be mainly focusing on this change, and then we're going to have a little jam along to this really fun 2 chord song. At any point, if you want to swap either of those chords or both of them for this way of playing a bar chord or this way of playing a bar chord, please be my guest. It's a really good opportunity to do it, and you'll find more help with these bar chord shapes in the description below and in my other lessons on andyguitar.co.uk, and also on the free to download Andy Guitar app, which is now available on iOS and Android devices, so any kind of mobile device you can download my app to, and it's free. Okay, here's our C major chord. We should, as I say, have very little problems with this. We have fingers 2, 3 and 4. First finger isn't doing anything. Chill, buddy, it's all good. and we're going to just get used to doing this. We've got a real curl to these fingers, as we should have with every one of these chords. The only finger that's not curled like this when we're doing kind of bar chords and things is that first finger, because that can clamp. But we're like this, and then we're like this, really, really curling the last sort of bone in our fingers. Really curling them over. That's the C, and then the G. C, G. I personally like to have the thumb over the top and just creeping over the top, not always hitting this thickest string, but I would be touching that thickest string on the C chord, absolutely, and then it's just resting there. Notice that my wrist is not bent at all, it's nice and straight, and that can be done by really curling over the fingers. Curl your fingers and the fingertips rather than the wrist. Strumming pattern. We pick the root note of each chord, so that's the lowest note, in this case string 5 on the C chord, and then string 6 on the G chord. Or, as a little cheat, you can just strum, especially if we got that thumb over the top helping us out there, we can use what I call the kind of folk strumming pattern, the Bob Dylan style strumming pattern of just thicker strings and then all of them. Thicker strings, all strings. Thicker strings, all strings. In this fashion. So let's play that along together. If you're struggling to change chord, you can either just stay on the C chord and just work on the strumming pattern, getting that kind of boom cha sound, or even with any strumming pattern ever, you can always mute your strings, hit the thicker strings and then everything, and just practice along just rhythmically. You know, we take so much time to work on the chords with this hand, and we take actually relatively little time with the pick and to work out what's going on here. So if you want to just take time out, play along with me, but be muting your strings and doing this, just being careful to be loose as a goose, but using minimum movements, not moving all over the place. It's just doing these little flicks, somewhat led by the wrist, but keeping all your forearm nice and loose, keeping the motion nice and small, and then you can do it up to tempo, hopefully, no problem at all. We stay on that G, and then we're back to C. So we got 1 bar of C, 2 bars of G, 1 bar of C. C bookends the chord sequence, so watch out for that. But other than that, watch me for the changes and try and keep up okay, in the words of Marty McFly. From the C chord, if you're joining in, play along in a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight to a G. Now back to C, and we continue like that. So we have a 1, 2, 3, and change to G. 1, 2, change back to a C. And for example, jambalaya and a crawfish pie, and change G. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of me. Oh, that's back to C. Stay on it, pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and change to G. G, 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 and back to a C. Really helps to kind of have that melody. Da, 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 da. I'll slow it down, change to G. Da, 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 back to C. Da, 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 change to a G. Da, 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 and finish on C. Lots of the other techniques at this kind of level are actually in my intermediate course if you want to pull this apart a little bit more. We have a full set of lessons that are on different genres, country music in particular, these kind of folky strumming patterns, picking single strings. You'll find more info about that on the website and the Andy Guitar app. Use the top link in the description or search for the app on the iOS store or Google Play. That's been this lesson. I hope it's really helping you, and I'll see you next time.